We're coming your way from New Orleans, American Farm Bureau, their 100th annual convention. Great to be here. Jim Bartles here for Inkstead, Minnesota Radio. Carolyn Olson is with us, and Carolyn, we've seen her at conventions before as well from Cottonwood and Lyon County. And Carolyn, I know that you're involved down here in more than one way, but you're on the American Farm Bureau Advisory Task Force for
the organic and direct marketing.
And you're leading a session down here too, aren't you?
Correct. On Sunday at 11:15, I'm giving a session called Organic 101. It's kind of the basics of what it would take to transition to organic for those who are just exploring that idea. So it's just a real basic outline of what it takes to be an organic farmer in from my perspective, in Minnesota.
Talk a little bit. What are a couple of tips about what does it take to be an organic farmer in Minnesota?
Well, one piece that I will be talking about is management and the different mindset that it takes. So in conventional agriculture, we're fairly reactive at times, and in organic, it's a lot more proactive. So what are we going to do to prevent problems? So that will be one thing. Another area that I will cover is what equipment do I need? Different equipment. What does it take for weed control? How about seed selection? And those things that they're important, but we may not realize, that there's a change of thinking in where we source our seed even. And the final thing that we'll talk about is, are you ready for this? Is this something for you? Are you paperwork adverse? Do you hate paperwork? Do you hate regulations? It's probably not for you.
Carolyn Olson was with us from Cottonwood, Minnesota, American Farm Bureau Convention. What's been happening with the growth of organic farming and the number of people getting involved?
We've seen growth, and I don't have the actual numbers, so I won't give you those. But we've seen growth in organic. The number of farms in the U.S. On the last census shows an increase in the number of organic farms. I believe we're around 14,000 prior, and we're a little bit more now. So in Minnesota, we have grown as well. There are more organic farms now than there were in the last census. So we've seen a lot of growth, and that's awesome because domestically we cannot raise as much as what the consumers are demanding. So if you're looking to get into organic to improve your bottom line, it's a viable place to go. The prices should remain fairly stable. The structure of the organics, the infrastructure is there, it's in place. So it is a good place for people who are thinking about it to take that leap and at least give it a shot to see if that is for them.
Carolyn, if someone is listening right now and they say, I'd like to find out more information about this, where do you suggest they go to look or call to get information?
So the Minnesota Department of Agriculture has a website for the organic sector, and we do have an organic advisory task force in Minnesota that I am a part of. Also, the Moses Conference is coming up in a few months, and the Moses Conference is the largest organic conference in the region, if not in the United States. Full of sessions for everybody from beginners and row crops to vegetables and CSAs, direct marketing, the whole gamut. So those would be my recommendations, is to start your search on the Department of Agriculture's website for Minnesota and the Moses Conference, and find farmers and look for mentors, because that's where you're going to really get the nuts and bolts.
Carolyn Olson, thanks for the update on organic farming and your participation in the seminar down here at the Farm Bureau Convention. Appreciate it. Always good talking to you.
Great. Thank you.
Carolyn Olson from Cottonwood, Minnesota. Jim Bartles here from New Orleans, Inkstead, Minnesota Radio Network.